Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, today we are going to be reviewing the two big games which took place over the weekend. Of course, Manchester United running away 1-0 winners over Aston Villa. And that exciting one on Sunday where Liverpool managed to get the better of Spurs. 4-3 in that one. Now, of course, joining me this evening to review these two matches, we have the gunner, Carey.
Viewers and subscribers. I would say it's a pleasure to be here, but I am here nonetheless.
And of course, we have returning to the podcast. We have the smiling man this evening, Leon.
Lovely weekend of football, viewers and subscribers. Lovely.
Yes, indeed. Quite a lovely weekend indeed. But we're going to kick the ball off, Carey. We saw Man U running away winners over Aston Villa in that one. A close encounter, I would say. But nevertheless, Man U getting the better of Aston Villa, one that had some European implications as well. And of course, bringing an end to that, you could say, that excellent run of form by Aston Villa. How did you see that game, Carey?
Well, to be fair, credit to Aston Villa nonetheless. Realistically speaking, I don't think we expected Aston Villa to make the Champions League, but they were enjoying themselves. They were having a good run of form. So credit to them. They went into the game somewhat confident. But on the day, it came down to the better team taking the chance, the better team winning. That's simply as how it was. So it was a good bounce back for Manchester United because you know that they've been under pressure, especially with Newcastle getting some good results in as well. So they also needed that win to try and secure their top four. Well, not secure, but to grab one hand onto that Champions League spot. So it was a good result for them. Credit to Aston Villa as well. I do expect Aston Villa to bounce back. I do expect Man U to kind of see out the season and continue picking up points here and there. They will drop a few, but they will maximize to the best that Man U can at this point. And I do see them grabbing that Champions League spot.
Yes, for sure. Their next fixture is against Brighton, and that should be a very interesting game indeed. Brighton right now on form, and Manchester United trying to maintain their position right there and trying to chase down Newcastle as well. So that game coming up should be a very interesting encounter. Of course, Man U got the better of them in that FA Cup semi-final there on penalties. So this is a repeat of that semi-final. This one taking place at the home of Brighton on this occasion. And over the weekend, we saw the demolition job which Brighton did on Wolves, so it's going to be an interesting game. And of course, many of those first team players for Brighton was rested as well. And they still got the job done in rather emphatic fashion. I believe they ran away, 6-0 winners over Wolves. But Leon, getting back to that Aston Villa fixture, I saw in that game where Aston Villa employed a rather high line. On numerous occasions, Manchester United were caught offside. And on other occasions, they managed to get the better of that offside trap. But, poor finishing, I would say, let Manchester United down. But Leon, how did you see that game?
I mean, I agree with you. It was very surprising to see Emery going with that high line tactic because Emery's normally a sit back, compact kind of formation. But I guess they were feeling very confident from their form because turning up at Old Trafford with Rashford in that front line and employing a high line tactic with Konsa and Mings, who is not known for their speed. So Aston Villa must have been confident. And as you said, it was poor finishing because Man United on a regular got behind them. It was just ball into the midfield over the top on a regular basis. And as the story for most of the season, we can seem to put away.
We seem to have lost Leon there. We're not hearing you too clearly, Leon.
You're hearing me now? Sorry.
Yes, you're back on.
Yeah, I'm saying that's just the story of Manchester
Like a
United
bit of
poor.
excitement there, Leon. Getting carried away with this Manchester United win, man.
Never negative. Right?
But yeah,
Ram,
you were telling us that, I mean,
Always
Aston
remaining
Villa
calm.
employing the high line, and we saw Manchester United breaching on a number of occasions, but just poor finishing. That was letting them down. I did see Emery make some tactical adjustment in the second half and, somewhat stem the flow and, with better finishing on their own. And I saw De Gea also pulling out a couple of, fine saves to pretty much keep Manchester United ahead. It was kind of surprising to me that Aston Villa didn't get on the score sheet as well, especially with, the injuries in that Manchester United defense. It was kind of shocking that, the likes of Ole Watkins didn't breach that Manchester rear guard. But Kerry, how did you see it from a tactical point of view? We made mention of the high line being employed by Aston Villa, but what did you make of the Manchester United setup?
well, credit to Ten Hag for dropping Maguire. If you want to, at this point in his career, simple maths. If you play Maguire, you start the match 1-0 down. So if you want to win a match, you just put him on the bench and you get points. So credit to Ten Hag for pulling that. We know Maguire is still revered by a lot of English fans, which make up a lot of the Manchester United fans as well. So to pull that Englishman and throw him on the bench, it shows that right now Ten Hag doesn't care about names. He cares about the results. He wants that Champions League spot, so he's willing to sacrifice anyone for the better of the team, which shows the quality manager he is. And credit to Bruno Fernandes, and also I think Casemiro had a really good game. He's getting to the loose balls, the second balls, where he was excellent in that. He controlled the midfield. I think in my opinion, who cost Aston Villa even a point was Jacob Ramsay. I think Ramsay had a very poor game. In the past 5 or so matches, he been having somewhat of a good run of form,
Yeah.
but he misplaced few passes. He lost possession too easily. I don't know if it's the moment that got to him, but
Well, to be honest with you, personally, I like Ramsey as a player. I really like his ability to carry the ball, which is what makes him different from the other Aston Villa midfielders. But and in doing so, it's likely that obviously you're gonna be challenged more often than not when you try to break the line, especially with your dribble. So while he did look dangerous on the ball to me, even though he lost a few challenges or he lost position on a number of occasions, but he was bright in my opinion. I like him as a quality footballer, and if and when he adds a bit more end product to his game, he's gonna be very outstanding in my opinion. He does have quality, but as you say, it's just a matter of time, youthful exuberance, etc.
that end product there way it showed on Sunday that he that needs a little tweaking. But as you
Mm,
said, I like the quality of the player. He shows a lot of threat going forward, but just that final pass, sometimes you see he's caught between minds whether to shoot or dribble or pass.
right.
But as you said, he's young. He'll adjust over time. I think he has a bright future within the EPL, and if he remains at Aston Villa with Emery, then next season we can look for because in reality is Aston Villa team is very young, with the exception of Ashley Young and a few other players.
That's an interesting part there, Kiri. The Aston Villa team is very young, with the exception of Ashley Young. Ah,
Look forward for Aston Villa. Honestly, I think they had a good season, and we probably can make. We don't like to play the hypotheticals, but we can say if Emery was there from the start of the season, maybe Aston Villa would have been in a better position today.
Possibly, yes. That's definitely a good point, but the ball is round, and as you say, we can never tell who to tell. He might have been the one being sacked, and Gerrard came in and got these results he's getting. So, the ball is round, and it's the EPL. It's very unpredictable, but such is the nature of the game. And we see Manchester United pretty much solidifying their position there in fourth. Uh, and as to how things look, seem to be in the driver's seat in order to secure that top four slot and that automatic qualification for the Champions League come next season. But Leon, your general thoughts on the tactics, and was there a key standout player for you on the day?
My general thought is on the tactic. I think Ten Hag played this game very well. We know that Emery formation, there's a lot of midfield, even in forward positions. There's a lot because both Magina and Ramsay, as you said, are midfielders. So what Ten Hag did was he started Bruno on the right wing instead of Anthony and had Sabitzer in the A-mid. So essentially, we packed the midfield also to get control of the game and not give Aston Villa the numerical advantage inside. And I think that's where most of the midfield, that's where the game was won and lost because Aston Villa wasn't able to get a hold of the midfield. And as we saw, Ollie Watkins wasn't really in the game much until
Right.
probably the last 10 minutes. And we know that based on Aston Villa style of play, their forward plays a very important role. And I think for this match, I would say probably I don't think there was a standout per se. I think a lot of players played well for Manchester United. I think Casemiro, this is his first good game in a long in like 3 to 4 games. So and we rest some key players for the match against Brighton. So I just think it was a good show out today for Manchester United.
Yes, and a positive result as well. But that was the Manchester United Aston Villa game. On Sunday again, we saw a very exciting fixture taking
Okay.
place over there at Anfield. Liverpool leading 3-0 after 20 minutes, only to be pegged back 3-3
The battle of the hot and colds.
to find a winner in the dying moments. Carey, talk to us. What's your overview on that game?
Leon said it was a battle of hot and cold, but to be honest, I don't even think we can define a temperature for what Spurs is right now. Spurs is just the one word you can use for Spurs is Spurs. Spurs is just Spurs. That's right now. For the neutrals. I can tell it was a very exciting game. We take note of it, a very exciting game. At one point, I thought Liverpool turned into Arsenal. You have a firm grip on the game within 20 minutes, and at the end of the game, you're going in for a draw. But
Right.
just bad dog, he dug deep and found that winner. So it was a really good match to watch and to see where it has moved Liverpool in the standings. I don't think persons realize how slowly, but Liverpool is getting up there in the mix. So probably we can be looking on the lookout for them for that fourth place Champions League spot as well. It's not mathematically it is possible. Let me just say that. Rule them out.
Automatically. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we can't rule them out. So I think the momentum going forward now is, we can still get there. They dug deep. I want to say credit to Richardson for scoring his first
Premier League goal.
goal with 6 matches left after he was bought for that high price tag he came in. And for me, he's a flop of the season. He got goal and he celebrated as if he scored the winning goal at the World Cup just for Jota to come and, dagger in their hearts couple seconds later. So for Spurs, I don't even know what to say. I said a couple weeks ago, we said Spurs hit rock bottom. And somehow hitting rock bottom, they have found the way to go deeper than rock bottom. Don't know what we're going to call that. But it's the worst we have seen the club in years. In years, mentally, they're out of it. As an organization, they're just really out of it. So I think Spurs is going for a very tricky, they're in for a very tricky off season, in my opinion.
Yes, definitely a very exciting game. As you say, for the neutrals, it was a thrilling encounter, but for the Liverpool faithful, we see again some very disturbing signs in total control, only to relinquish control, and then in the dying moments, find that winner. Things could have gone differently, but, we give thanks for the 3 points. But Leon, how did you see this one? Talk to us.
Um, yeah, I think as you said, exciting game. I think Liverpool and one is very lucky to get something out of this game, to be
I
honest.
agree, I agree.
3-0 up, and I think Spurs hit the post twice. Son hit the
Definitely.
post twice, and even Jota scoring that last minute goal. He's lucky to be on the pitch with. I thought that was a red card that he did with that high boot there, to be honest. And I just think
Uh,
if that happened away from Anfield, I think he would have gotten a red card, because as we saw, Casemiro got a red card for this on the ground. So I think Spurs forgot they were at Anfield at the first part. I think even though they must have had a game plan to counteract Trent in that midfield, but in the first 10, 15 minutes, I don't think they had an answer. And we can see Trent just pulling the strings, and I think they figure it out. They got one goal, then got two. Then the match was on. As you say, it was an exciting match, but both teams need to do better, I would say, defensive wise.
yeah, defensively, two very poor showing, to be honest with you. And we saw where Van Dijk got melted out like butter. He has become an internet mime these days. What, couple years ago, he was touted as the best centre back in the world. And now he's an internet mime. It just goes to show how fast football comes and how fickle the fans are. But definitely, the two defenses were pretty poor, but we saw a lot of attacking play, and the attacks came to the fore, and eventually, Liverpool found that winner. But nail biting stuff, nail biting stuff. But Kerry, let's delve into the tactics a bit. How did you see both teams from a tactical point of view? In the preview, I had mentioned that it's going to be a 4-3-3 versus a back three for Spurs. And we saw exactly how that panned out in the first 20 minutes. Liverpool was totally over the Spurs team. And in hindsight, that's where the game was won, really. So tactically, how did you see it, Kerry?
Well, with that Trent coming into the midfield, we we know that Trent has the ability to be regarded as one of the top passers in football. You know, we know he has been a defensive liability. So with the new formation, we see a lot of the managers now moving into. We see Arteta doing it. We see Pep doing it. Get that inverted midfield there and get it going. Trent, not going to lie, Trent looks impressive in that role, and we'll see he was stringing the passes. He was having a field day out there, to be honest. And with the back three, and let's mention the Spurs keeper that came in, Foster.
First off,
Foster.
Forrester. I think he had an awful game, in my opinion. His positioning his positioning was off. His distribution wasn't the best either. But that happens when your hands are forced. Spurs been playing the same lineup when we expect the three at the back. I think maybe when a new manager comes in, that probably shifts because Spurs playing a back three, and we can argue that Spurs don't have a capable back three, because Ben Davis is the definition of Spurs is very hot and cold. Sometimes he'll show up, the other minute he will not. You don't know what to get from him. And I think Salah had a field day running at them, just running at them, to be honest. Liverpool was Liverpool. As was mentioned earlier, I think it was Leon who said it, that Spurs forgot that they were at Anfield. And the tactics deployed by Klopp, getting in Trent, getting the wingers very active, credit to Gakpo. I think Gakpo, he saw the space between the centre back and the right wing back and was just floating around, enjoying himself there. So credit to them. I think your player there, Harvey Elliott, he showed promise. I don't think he had his best game.
Yes,
But
I mean, Liverpool do have a few exciting youngsters coming through. I've been saying this all season, and it's just a matter of time before they solidify themselves in the EPL, you know. Talent is there, and sometimes at these big clubs, your local grown players just need that opportunity to shine. And that's one of the positives I could say in terms of Klopp this season. He hasn't been afraid when the big name players are not firing to throw the youngsters in. And, you know, before players such as Bečić got injured, they were doing a fantastic job right there in the midfield. The last game, we saw Curtis Jones getting a run out and getting a goal as well. So it's just a matter of time. Sometimes these no-name so-called players just need that opportunity and they will come to the fore. But it is what it is. It's the nature of the game. You know, these days it's very economic. So if you're not winning, the time isn't there to permit the development of talent, especially in the first team. But we move. But Leon, how did you see this one from a Spurs point of view? I mean, to come back from 3-0 down and to have a draw snatched at the very last minute, that has to be a deflating experience.
Deflating stuff. I mean, at the first 10 minutes, I thought Spurs was gonna have to send out another message to reimburse their fans again. I was wondering if they were gonna make this a habit, but as we saw in the end part, they fought back. I think they went in halftime and got the so-called famous hair dryer treatment. I think that's the only positive we have seen from Spurs with this new coach is that they have the fighting spirit. I would say they managed to get one goal, and in the second half, I think they were probably the better team. I think they got a hold on the midfield. I think Harry Kane dropped deeper. I think Son was more active in the game, and I think their passing was even smoother and quicker. So to release their wing backs, where we see Perisic skinning Van Dijk on that move, and I think the last goal was unfortunate. I think Ryan Mason subbed on Lucas Moura as a wing back trying to equalize, which they got. But in equalizing, he was still in the wing back position, and you can see the long pass from Allison dropped fell on him, and I guess a more natural defender would probably take it down, would have more composure to take it down and then play a forward pass than playing a one time pass back to the keeper, and we saw Jota ready to pounce on that one, and they were leading after 90 seconds again. So I think
Yes.
there's a little positive for Spurs, but giving three goals away at Anfield, you shouldn't. I don't think they were even lucky to come back in that match per se.
Definitely Lucas Moura came on to give that attacking punch, but you know, turned out to be a defensive liability. And as you say, Jota was there to pounce, you know, and that one really heartbreaking stuff for Spurs there after coming from 3-0 down. But glorious celebration there for the Anfield faithful to, you know, to snatch a draw or to snatch a win, I should say, from a draw, you know, with the last kick of the ball, you know. It's moments like these that fans live for, you could say, you know, and finding that winner, Jota should be quite elated. But we move, and coming up midweek, we have another big fixture. So before we end the podcast, I'll just invite Kerry just to give his views on this big game coming up. We have Arsenal facing off versus Chelsea. Kerry, give us a quick overview of what we can expect in that one. You know, Arsenal now no longer league leaders. It is now Manchester City that leads the way. How do you see this one panning out?
Well, Man City leads the way, and Man City will finish the season leading the way.
So as an Arsenal
Mighty,
man, you have given up then, Kerry.
oh the mighty.
I have given up statement comes from because I was the one who said Man City to win. Arsenal to come second and Newcastle third, Man United fourth. I
Mm.
made months ago. So am I disappointed? Of course I'm disappointed. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. Because
Mm.
it and with the run of form we're having, if I wouldn't be surprised either if Frank Lampard gets his first win of the season versus Arsenal tomorrow. I would not be surprised. Of course, we want the 3 points. I think on paper, Arsenal still has the better team, still has the better coach, the better tactics all around. As I think that they will go out and get the 3 points. And who to say maybe there's a few more twists and turns left in the title race. So our hope is not lost. But I think at this point, majority of Arsenal fans have been brought back to earth. And we just look to see out the season at this point. At this point, if they win, congratulations to them, hopefully. But with how we see Man City playing right now, this is the run that I've been speaking about for weeks. When Man City gets up and say, all right, we're not going to lose any more games for the rest of the season, we're at that point now. So only thing to beat City right now is City, because right now I think they're top four to go for that treble. So they're the better right now. They're probably playing the best football in Europe. So the treble shouldn't come as a surprise to us if it happens. It will be a great achievement, but it will also be a deserved achievement at this point in the season.
Quite a bit said there, Kiri. But Leon, quickly, in terms of this one, Chelsea facing off with Arsenal. Chelsea going through a very poor run right now. How do you see this one playing out, Leon?
I think it should be a a fierce battle. Relegation Chelsea fighting against relegation at this point. I think they're, I think they're 10
Yes,
points.
yeah, they may very
They're
well be drawn down into a battle. They may very well need to get at least one win
I
before
think
the season ends. And I mean, previously in a previous podcast, I was looking at their fixture list. And to be
it doesn't
honest,
look
I
good.
really could not see a win in those 8 games that they had at the time. And right now, I still don't see a win. I expect Arsenal to bounce back and definitely win this one. But,
I think
stranger
yeah,
things have happened.
Chelsea's like 10 points away from the relegation battle. I think they and Bournemouth are on the same point. So we know that at this point of the season, the teams in the relegation fight always seem to pull their strength from somewhere. So Chelsea, I guess Chelsea can hope on that one. Arsenal has been down for some time for the past month. So I think they would like to rectify things after that poor showing against Man City at their home ground. So I think it should be a battle where both parties have something to gain, especially both battles, because as I said, relegation versus Arsenal trying to keep pace. And I think, as we said, I think Arsenal is, as Kerry said, the most dominant team in form, tactics, players. I just hope that their key players start to regain some form and get over this slump that they're in. But it should be a good fight coming from both teams.
The levels that Chelsea has fallen to, where we have now the team Chelsea and relegation in the same sentence. You know, oftentimes it is almost as if what Klopp says is ringing true, where you can't necessarily just build a team by just buying players, but you definitely have to take time to implement a system and find the right players that fit that system. And that seemed to have been exactly what Chelsea have gone ahead and done, where they just went, bought some players, threw them together, and with the anticipation that because they are good players, then the result will come. But we're seeing the downfall here, and it's not pretty, you know.
Super, with Super Frank at the helm.
I tell you. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that game. And as I said, I anticipate the Arsenal win. But here, in terms of a scoreline, how do you see this one in terms of a final score?
Arsenal winning 3-1.
3-1. What says Julian?
It's 2-0 to Arsenal.
2-0 to Arsenal. This one is a tough one. A tough one indeed. But I'm going to hold my breath on the score. I just feel Arsenal will definitely pull out a win. But in terms of an exact score, I'm not too sure how this one is gonna flow, but I anticipate an Arsenal win. But gentlemen, we're quickly running out of time. What's your final thoughts on the weekend, Kerry? Quickly.
Well, we mentioned that Chelsea 10 points above the relegation battle. It's now 9. As we see, a couple of teams picking up draws over the weekend into today as well. City took back the first place then at the right time at the season, with a few games. So it's the best time to be in first, so that's good. The Champions League battle is getting heated with Liverpool somewhat. I would say Liverpool entering the race. So we have a nice relegation battle going on. We have a nice Champions League battle going on. First place may be gone, but let's watch it till the end of the season.
Yes, definitely some interesting narratives formulating there. And Leon, your final word.
Yeah, I mean, as Kerry said, our battles all around the table. I think Man United, I think Liverpool, if Liverpool win all of their remaining fixtures, I think they should end on 71 to 72 points. So I think for Manchester United now we're at 65. I think so. We just need to get like nine points from our remaining fixtures to secure Champions League, and we should be able to pull that out of the bag. So hopefully we get the job done.
Well, there you have it, viewers and subscribers. Thank you again for tuning in to us. Just gonna ask you to continue to share the platform and, of course, subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks goes to Kerry and Leon for coming on board and sharing their thoughts and their opinions. And until next time, this is Rafa signing off.